Eyewitness News. This is the Tarbox Toyota Hyundai Friday Night Football Wrap.
Welcome to week 3 of the Tarbox Friday Night Football Wrap. It's been an interesting week for coaches and athletic directors. A West Nile scarement shifting things around. Only a handful of teams still playing under the Friday night lights. That includes a Division I clash in East Providence. The Townies taking on last year's champions. Bishop Hendricken off to a 3-0 start. EP still looking for win number 1 in their division opener. Townies down early. Hawks striking in the first. Patrick Gill finds Jared Witherspoon in the end zone. 30-yard touchdown. 7-0 Hendricken. Just getting started later in the first. It's Gill again, this time to Michael Scarcella on the run. He takes it in for a 31-yard score. Hawks win big and stay undefeated, 42-13. The final. In another Division I play, El Sal taking on Tolman. Head coach Dave Cato and his Tigers getting a big test as they take on the division favorites. And they came to play tonight after spotting the Rams' 7-0 lead. Braden Dunlap finds Chris Baldwin in the end zone for the touchdown. Tigers would add another and jump ahead 14-7. But then the Rams offense explodes. Josh Morris takes the handoff from Anthony Francis. He's off, cutting across the grain through the D. That run ties things up. Then Francis going through the air with the greatest of ease. He finds Mitchell De Silva. Rams rally to beat Tolman 42-20. The final. Coming up next on the Wrap, an afternoon matchup with an early season bragging rights on the line, a Division II rivalry game, plus Mount Pleasant coach Paul Rayo in studio. That and much more when we come back.
Hi, we're the East Providence High School cheerleaders. Stick around for more of the Tarbox Toyota Football Wrap. Hi, we're the Tolman High School cheerleaders, and welcome back to the Tarbox Toyota High School Football Wrap.
As mentioned, some schools took precaution and moved games up to the afternoon. That included the marquee matchup in Division II to this point. The defending champs Chariho welcoming rival Westerly. Head coach Mike Kelly and the Chargers looking to stay undefeated in division play. The Bulldogs coming in undefeated overall. Score tied at 7 midway through the first. Bulldogs punting. Jake Wan says, "You kick to me. I'm going to do some damage." Waits for his blocks. Finds some room. Then turns on the Jets. Only the safety valve to beat. Nice move. 75 yards. He's brought down, but it's too late. Extra point gives the Chargers the 14-7 lead. But the Bulldogs would answer. Phillip Lynch, 5-yard sneak. Westerly scores 21 unanswered in the second half, on way to the big victory on the road, 35-14, the final score. So could Johnston stay tied for the division lead. The undefeated Panthers hosting Mount Hope. D2 baseball champs honored at the half. Fast forward to the second half. Huskies trying to fight back, but Kyle Valenzuela is picked off by Mark Connie. Panthers defense strong. Mount Hope would finally find some hope. Valenzuela keeps it for the keeper, makes it 31-6, still in Johnston's favor. The Panthers proving too strong all around. Conti, the 35-yard touchdown run. Johnston remains undefeated, 37-6. The final. Now the two teams still searching for win number 1 in division play. Coventry hosting Tollgate. Oakers up big in the second half, but the Titans trying to rally. Down by 30, they eventually find the scoreboard. The pitch to Aaron Travers goes outside for the 10-yard score. Tollgate also stepping it up on defense. Nicholas Lemoy strips the ball, and Tyler Ferreira picks it up and takes it back for 6. But the rally would end there. Coventry goes on to win it 37-12. In Division 2B, Cumberland hosting Rogers. The Vikings won Division III last year. Still looking for win number 1 this season. First quarter action, Vikings from the 5. Corey Jones in for 6. Vikes within 1, down 7-6. Cumbie back on 0. Brandon Garrett connects with Captain Mitchell Baxter, throwing a stiff arm. Makes it down to the 8-yard line before Jones brings him down. Sets up this. Joseph Fine takes it in for the touchdown. Cumberland goes on to the victory 35-6. To Conley Stadium for another D2 matchup. Shea visiting Central. No score in this one until the fourth quarter when Raider kicker Babukar Lemon nails the 32-yarder, 3-0 Shea. They'd add another field goal. The Knights down 6-0. Strike back. Patrick Awa finds Steven Perez wide open over the middle. 55 yards to the house. PAT no good. So it remains tied at 6 after a Shea turnover. Carlos Magnum powers it in from 3 yards out. That would be the game winner. Knights in a nail-biter, 12-6, the final. Just one game in Division 4, an early battle to stay on top of the division. Included in that mix is Smithfield. The Sentinels have been impressive in the first 2 weeks of regular season play. They took out Central Falls last week, this time around taking on Scituate. We go right to the third quarter. Smithfield using that prolific ground game. David Perillo gets the ball, pounds it up the middle. Finally dragged down by a gaggle of Scituate defenders, 20-yard gain. Then Brennan Benoit, the pitch again to Perillo. Breaks a tackle, makes a cut, starts chugging for pay dirt, 30-yard score. Later, the Sentinels back on offense. Brendan Correa to the outside, breaks a tackle, stiff arms, 60 yards. It's a touchdown. Smithfield dominates 40-6 the final. And I'm joined this week in studio for our Coach's Corner with Mount Pleasant head coach Paul Rayo. Coach, we appreciate you taking the time. I know you don't have a game this week, but thank you so much for coming in and talking to us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And as I mentioned, no game. Bye week for you guys. Would you rather have it later in the season? Let's start there. Is it okay to have a bye week right now for you guys?
Well, you know, it could be advantageous at any point. Depends if you have injuries or things like that. For us, it worked out because you know, we have a young team. So it gives us some time to get everybody on the same page. So it gives us a little added extra time before we start, you know, our next season game. We had one season game so far.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about your team so far this season. Some good things that you like, and maybe some things that you would like to see your team improve on so far this season.
Well, you can always improve. Unfortunately, we only have 4 returning starters from last year's team. But with that, we don't have a lot of football inexperience. We do have some kids that transferred in that have football experience, but they're new to our system. So it's going to take some time to get everybody on the same page. And, you know, we'll work hard and hopefully we get there.
And we're going to kind of follow the same line of questioning we had with the last 2 weeks. You guys are 2-time defending champs in Division 4, right? Talk a little bit about that. You said you only have 4 starters, but the kids getting the experience and having the confidence that, hey, we've seen these other kids go out and win it, does that help you as a coach?
Somewhat. I mean, it's a very transient population, which hurts us because, you know, you can't count from year to year on kids returning, unfortunately. And, you know, it happened to us this year on a couple of key positions. We lost, you know, athletes that we thought we would have. But it built up the morale of the school. It built up the morale of the team. So, you know, kids come out with a little more confidence probably because of the wins in the past.
And you mentioned having to kind of reboot things for you, but this is your 4th year with the program, right?
Yes.
So when you took over, I mean, what was the challenge like to build it up to what it is now in the back-to-back titles? Pretty fulfilling for you personally to be able to accomplish that?
Very fulfilling. Like I said, because of the transiency of the population, unlike some of the suburban schools where you know you're going to have a kid for 4 years, it's tough to put things in place that you hope to build on. You know, you do your best that you can. And, you know, we just try to build a disciplined atmosphere where we work hard and teach kids skills that they're going to use not only in football but in life and hope to be successful.
And the success that you guys have had the last couple of years, has there been any talk of maybe you guys moving up to Division 3 in the future? Actually,
they just did a realignment, and unfortunately we weren't able to move up. The formula they used really worked against us, although we did request to move up, you know, try our hat in a new ring. Maybe 2 years from now we'll be a little more fortunate if we have continued success. As
far as Division 4, just kind of give us an idea. I know you just focus in on your team in specific, but you're expecting it to be a pretty good division again this year?
You know, usually you know the teams you can count on to be tough, and you know, you're right, I focus on us and we just try to improve, you know, day by day, week by week, game by game, and hopefully we can be one of the teams in the mix.
All right, and we appreciate you coming in and checking up with us in this football season. I know it's early and some more success down the road for you. I'm sure we'll catch up with you again, all right?
Thank you very much.
All right, once again, Coach Paul Rayo of Mount Pleasant. We'll be back with more wrap after this as we step across the border for some Massachusetts matchups. We'll be back after this.
The Tarbox Toyota Hyundai Friday Night Football Wrap continues.
It was a big night just over the border in Attleboro. Bishop Fien found their way into the win column last week, but now a big challenge against neighbor North Attleboro, a series dominated recently by the Big Red. In fact, the Shamrocks' last win over NA came in 2008. Fans hoping the home team would dance over their neighbors, being trailing in the fourth until they dial it up on special teams. Ben Kenny, the punt block, recovered by Matt Guybus. That would set up this Nick Romero. The handoff to Matt Pisano, Matt's second TD of the day. Then the Red Rocketeers just trying to run out the clock, but Isaiah Douglas not going to have it. The big stick leads to another punt. Last chance for the Shamrocks. But the fourth down pass falls just short. North holds on for the 21-14 win. They move to 3-0. Well, the Big Red beat Boston College High last week. BC still winless, but still ranked in the top 10 by the Boston Globe, making the trip to Dartmouth. BC strikes in the first. QB Dan Collins over the middle to Lincoln Collins. Makes the leaping grab, the Collins connection, good for 26 yards, which leads to this goal line handoff to Brandon Owens. Punches it in for the 7-0 lead. We go to the start of the second quarter. Tim Smith dumps it off to Mitchell Larringer. Gives a great effort, breaking multiple tackles, working his way down the sideline. 25 yards, but the Indians' offense could not find the end zone, struggling with turnovers. Dartmouth shut out at home, 31-0, the final score. We finish up in Taunton, a 4 o'clock start as the Tigers host to Derby. Score tied at 7. The second one, Domingo Jenkins, the best name in local football, takes it in for 2 yards out. 14-7 Tigers. Taunton D strong as well. Raheem Barzi, the carry for Derby, but loses the ball, and the Tigers able to recover and able to capitalize on the turnover. Jamal Williams over a defender and in for a touchdown. Tigers get the win, 34-20, the final. Time now for the one play that stands above all else. It's our play of the night, or in this case, our play of the day. We head back to the big Division II matchup in Chariho. The Chargers, Jake Wan, 75-yard kick return for a touchdown. That put Chariho in front by 7, but Westerly scores 21 unanswered in the second half and pulls out the big road victory. Well, we're out of time. Remember to check out WPRI.com to see everything you saw again, plus extended highlights as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody.